If you usually get really excited for Smut Tale Wednesdays, you're not going to be more excited than Nora right now, because not only does she get to deliver a Smut Tale, she also just got some great news from her most favorite person ever on the face of this earth.
Our Lord and Savior, Taylor Swift.
I was about to say me, but thanks so much.
I mean you.
Man, I thought I was the number one, but now we actually know who your number one is. Taylor Swift. So Sunday night, Taylor Swift announced that she was coming out with a brand new album called
TS10
Midnights. Not just midnight, but midnights, right?
Yep, Midnights. And it is a pop rock album.
A pop rock album. Taylor Swift could go rocky?
I'm sorry. Yes, she can. She performed.
Listen, I'm just like debating in my head and like asking myself, can I see Taylor Swift go rocky?
You're going to have to pull up the We Are Never Getting Back Together rock version from her tour, because she's playing electric guitar, and I get chills every time I watch that performance. It is just chef's kiss. So good.
Really?
I mean, you could play the clip.
I don't like playing clips of like
you played
actual
the Korn
music.
song.
Yeah, no.
That's the song of the summer, according to you.
Well, it is the song of the summer. But the thing that I was going to say, like, big songs like that, copyright stuff, like, you could get in trouble for
Okay,
some of that
well,
stuff.
then everyone needs to look up the We Are Never Getting Back Together
Rock version.
Yes.
Not the regular one, the rock version.
Yes. If you just type in We Are Never Getting Back Together, like...
Did you get really deep into like what this album is going to be about based off of what she's put out on social media?
Kind of. So essentially, when she came out with the Lover album, there was a house that the Lover music video was, and each room in the house had different colors that represented all of her albums that had come out. And then there was 2 hallways that represented the Folklore and Evermore that were going to come out later. And then at the very end, there was like a pan out of the house in full with like a midnight starry night sky. And now that she announced her album Midnight, everyone's thinking, oh, that's just the full collection of the house put together. And I've just been on Taylor Swift TikTok of all of the Easter eggs that are kind of coming out, but it's essentially all of the songs that she has written in the middle of the night, or where she's woken up and written in her notes app and has just compiled a song.
Wow, I can't imagine doing that in the middle of the night. Just having lyrics come to you and be like, yeah, let me wake up and write this down. She
talks about in the Folklore Long Pond session that's on Disney Plus, that she had a lyric, Meet Me Behind the Mall. And I believe she had that lyric from 1989 time, where she just really loved that lyric, Meet Me Behind the Mall. And she just hadn't found a song that it worked.
Cash Me Outside, how about that?
But she held that from 1989, and she wrote Reputation, she wrote Lover, and then she wrote Folklore. It was 3 albums later until that lyric was good enough to be in a song.
I wonder how many folders she has in her notes section, or how many new pages she has.
God, I don't know.
Probably a ton. Like, you think someone of her stature, someone that had saved lyrics for 3 albums later or whatever it was, like, man, and she has to have a lot in her notes.
Plus all of her Easter eggs that she lines up to make sure that, like, everything, like how the new album comes out on October 21st, which is Kim Kardashian's birthday, which is kind of the feud between Kim and Kanye, which happened 13 years ago, her favorite number. Also, it is crazy.
That, I think, is just coincidence.
No, there's never a coincidence with Taylor Swift.
I think
but the incidents
that Swifties make it something.
I don't know. Yes, sometimes we do, and
I
sometimes
do think
we
she
don't.
has things that she plans out, don't get me wrong.
But
I think that Swifties get so enthralled into every little piece of thing Taylor Swift puts out there, they make up their own conspiracy.
Okay, but even think about this. The whole Kanye incident happened at the VMAs 13 years ago, which is her favorite number. Okay, so 13 years later, she wears a dress that is similar to the dress that she wore at the VMAs when Kanye interrupted her. Just let me finish here. And she makes a TikTok with the song Pink Venom. I think it's called Pink Venom, that has lyrics in it saying, "Look what you made us do." And also her dress that she wore to the VMAs was a spinoff of her in the bathtub of her song, "Look What You Made Me Do." And Kim Kardashian's birthday is National Reptile Day. And Kim Kardashian is known for calling Taylor Swift a snake, which has inspired the whole Reputation album. But also it comes out on National Apple Day, which plays onto the fact that she had a whole bunch of Apple Easter eggs in one of her music videos from her Red re-release of Taylor's version. But she also has done stuff that when she posted a song for Evermore, she was wearing the ring that said Red. And she had the ring that said Red in the picture for the Evermore album, letting us know that that was her next re-release. Her brain.
This is just also cultish.
I'm part of the iPhone cult and I'm part of the Taylor Swift cult, and I am perfectly okay with that.
I'm glad that those are the only cults that you are in, because there are a lot worse ones to be in. I'm glad those are the only two.
I mean, I could just sit there for hours and just going through all the deep dives of the Easter eggs. I just think it's so cool, even if we make up half the stuff. And when, even with you kind of like pushing back and saying that it's, us Swifties make up a lot of it. Even if we do, it is just crazy how our minds work, or even if we aren't making them up and they truly are her Easter eggs put into place, it is just crazy how her brain works to think of things like that.
I wonder if it's her or if she has someone that helps her out with all that stuff. Because,
I'm sure.
Listen, she's very creative. She's very good at what she does. But you can't do that alone. There's no way you could do all that alone.
Oh, I know. I'm sure her mom and Joe have probably helped her with like a lot of stuff.
There's someone else. There's someone else in the inside that's helping her, that Taylor Swift has probably went to, that said, listen, you're going to be my right-hand person. You're going to always come up with some of these different philosophies that I have to get people talking about me. We're going to work together. The moment that you leak something out without my permission, we're donezo.
Yeah.
And so that's what I think. I think she has a really good relationship with someone that's really good in marketing. And let me go back to saying this, so Swifties don't kill me here. I do think she is a genius. Okay, I do think she is someone that is
even
a really
being a
big
genius
player
to hire someone to do that.
Well, yeah, I think she is a genius in that front, but I also think she is a genius when it comes to marketing stuff. But I think you have to have someone helping you do all of that work. You can't do it on your own.
I would just love to be that person just to know all the secrets.
Hey, that would be a great job. That would be a fantastic job. I'm sure you wouldn't have to worry about anything else in your life again.
It'd be like being in the CIA and you couldn't really even discuss your job.
Right. Yeah. Great comparison. Such sensitive information.
I know.
Taylor Swift, classified information from the government.
You'd have to be like
practically the same thing.
I work with like high profile clients, and yeah. So my weekend was consumed of all the Taylor Swift theories of her dropping her album Midnights, and then reading book 4 of Salacious Players Club.
Do you think Taylor Swift reads Smut?
Yes, because she has referenced it.
Really?
Yeah, she's talked about, like, she's a big reader. So.
But Smut, she's reading Smut.
She's got to read Smut. Some of her dirty songs, I mean.
Wow, good for Taylor Swift.
No, yeah, and then, of course, so that was my weekend, and then book 4 of Salacious Players Club.
Let's hear more about it.
So this is the series where a group of friends open up a sex club. So, and I've read quotes from all of the books so far. So the first one was called Praise, and that was the guy who falls in love with his son's ex-girlfriend, and his kink was he was a dominant and he wanted a submissive. And then book 2 was Eyes on Me, and that was the guy whose stepsister was a webcam girl and they fell in love. Book 3 was Give Me More, and that was the throuple.
Gotcha.
That was very interesting. And book 4 is about the only female owner of the club, and her name is Maggie. Remembered the name this time. Her name is Maggie, and she is not a very sexual person, and because she grew up in a very like sheltered household where like sex was very shamed, and so she is more of like the business side of this.
Okay.
And for shits and giggles, all of the girls of the men who are her coworkers were like, you should just take the quiz for the hell of it. And she found out that she was a dominant. And so now she's like, well, I've never had good sex in my life. Might as well try to find myself a submissive that I can kind of practice on and see if this is really something that I want. And their app that they have is you take a kink quiz, and then you find out what your kink is, and then you get matched up with someone in your area that would go with your kink. So if she's a dominant, you'll get matched up with a submissive. Well, the person that she gets matched up with is Emerson's son, and Emerson is the one is the dad from the first book. So Emerson took his son's ex-girlfriend, and now she's taking her best friend and coworker's son. And he is like, well, I don't think I'm a submissive. But he's like, might as well just practice on me and see how this goes.
He was cool with him being the practice dummy.
Yeah, so he took the quiz because he was always been disgusted that his dad owned a sex club. So he's like, I'm going to see what this is about. And he got that he was like a submissive and a brat. And a brat is a submissive that likes to rebel, to get punished.
Okay.
And she was a dominant brat tamer. So her thing was like she liked to punish.
It's like a lion tamer?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, both whips are involved in both. So they get matched up together, and he goes, I don't think I could be a submissive, because he thinks that means you're not a man.
So did he finally cave and become a submissive?
Yeah,
for
he
her?
ended up begging her and said, give me a chance and let us practice on this together and see where this leads. And he realized that he actually enjoyed being the submissive. He said, for once, I didn't have to think about what I needed to do and what I needed to say. He goes, I got to literally just stand there and be told what to do. And he's like, I didn't have to think through anything, which means if I wasn't thinking and making the decisions, he's like, I couldn't mess up. And for once, he didn't feel like a failure, because when she told him to do something and he did it, she praised him, and he finally felt like he was accomplishing or not disappointing somebody.
Gotcha. So do we have the quote? I'm interested now to hear this quote after finding out this dude was a submissive.
Yes. So the quote is Maggie speaking to Bo, and Maggie says, I'm going to use you, Bo. In fact, when you're here, you're not Bo anymore. We're not friends or lovers or acquaintances. You are my property to do whatever I want with, and if you deserve it, I'll punish you. It will hurt, and I'll try to make sure you don't enjoy it. But if you earn it, I'll reward you, and I'll make sure you do like it.
That's the quote?
That's the quote.
Oh, I thought that you were going to have like a quote of this lady using a strap-on.
I had that, and I didn't know if you were going to be comfortable with that.
Listen, I thought that was very I thought that was Disney Plus material right there. Like, I felt like it was part of the story. I felt like it was good storytelling. But I didn't think, for this being a situation where this guy was as submissive, that was a quote that we would get from that.
Oh, I had quotes from when she was pegging him. But the issue is, this author is so good at painting the scene that to fully get the effect of the quote, you have to read like multiple paragraphs to get what's going on. So like there was some really spicy scenes that I'm sitting here reading. I'm like, oh my God, like this is like so raunchy and so dirty and I'm loving this. But it would have been too long to read on the podcast because it would have been probably an entire page or a page and a half to set the scene. Because if I just read that one line, you don't get the context of it.
Sure you do. Like, so based off of like, let's do it, Nora's spice meter. This is just my expectation off of you saying that he is a submissive and that he's basically going to get railed by this girl using a dildo. Based off of what you just told me on that, I would expect the spice level to be about 5. Muy caliente. Be very hot, very spicy. It would be there. But that, what you just gave me, was about like 2.5. I guess my expectations were a lot higher based off of the details that you told me and based off the details that you had been telling me throughout the weekend.
Can I read this one then?
Nope, you get one.
No,
No, you get one.
I don't care. I'm getting this one.
No, you get one. You get one a week?
No.
Yes. You get one a week because what happens on weeks that you aren't reading, just like Taylor Swift does. She wakes up in the middle of the night with a lyric in her head and be like, that will be a good one. Let me write that down. So this is you in the time writing that down and saving it for a week.
I had 32 smut highlights from this book. 32 quotes.
So that means you would have 32 weeks.
Yeah, but you can't just keep reading the quotes from the same books.
You could.
Can I just read this one?
I don't know. I feel like I wish this was a point that we were like an actual live radio show that we could take calls and be like, hey, should we let Nora
The listeners want to hear 2 quotes. They only get smut once a week from me.
Right. And you can't give them too much.
They always want more.
No.
Yes,
you got to want them to come back for more.
They will continue to come back for more.
I don't know.
Okay. So this is from the chapter where she's pegging him.
Okay. All right. I guess we'll let it happen.
Good boy, I reply, stroking his ass. With those words, I ease my way in, inch by delicate inch. Watching the way his body takes everything I'm giving him is something that will stay etched in my memory forever. The trembles, gasps, moans, and finally, the shudder of pleasure when I reach farther inside of him. Oh, fuck, he grunts into the bed, unable to keep himself quiet.
That was a lot better. That was what I was expecting. Something a little bit more on those terms.
I just liked, at one point, she points out the dildo or the strap on, and he goes, she's like, what do you think of this? And he's like, I already have a cock. And she goes, I don't. And he's like, we don't need this right now. And just like walks away.
Wow. Did she say that she used lube there?
Yeah, she lubes them up. They don't just raw dog it.
You never know. You never know. Wow. That's what I was expecting. Just like I said, based off of what you told me about the book, that's what I was expecting. That's why I said the original quote that you gave was like PG, like Disney Plus, maybe even like Disney Channel. Like that was a quote. Basically, that was Cinemax, right? That was Skinemax on the weekends.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
I mean, it was kind of there, and it was kind of giving you those clues, but it really wasn't the real thing. And that was a lot more of the real thing.
Yeah. I guess the original quote that I picked just was enough to like let you know kind of what was going to happen in this book without giving too much away. But
hey, now we got it. Mm-hmm. We got 2. You're 1 for 2 today.
Do you want to be my submissive?
No, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you, though, for the offer.
Anytime. What if I take the kink quiz and I am a dominant? Are you going to just not let me fulfill my sexual needs?
I guess not.
Wow. I'm so glad you care about my sexual needs.
I'll get you a fleshlight. I'll get you a fleshlight.
I can't use a fleshlight. I don't have a penis.
Well, I understand that, but you could do just what that lady does and go get a strap on and then go get a fleshlight that has...
So a strap on where I have no feeling to put in a fleshlight where I will also still not have feeling.
Yep.
Okay. That's not how that works.
I'll make sure that I'll YouTube some like moans and stuff like that there for you.
I just don't understand how that if I took the kink quiz and that was my kink, that I was a dominant, you wouldn't try to be my submissive. But if the roles were reversed and you took it and you came out as a dominant, I would then attempt to be a submissive to please you. But I guess we just have different, sexual wants.
Wow, I guess so, yep.
I'm so glad to know where I come on that.
Well, you do. Multiple times, so you're okay. You're A-okay.
Thanks.
No problem. I'm glad that's where we get to end for the smut tale on you.
I'll let you get the final word on that one.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for giving me some sort of way that I could hold my head up high after all that. Man, I don't even know if I could recover now from all that. I really don't. Where do you go from there? I think I almost might turn off my microphone and stop recording. I have other things to talk about. I don't know how to transition out of that. I don't. I really don't. Let me go over my show notes here. Oh, that was awkward. When I'm telling you, I usually don't feel awkward recording this podcast, especially this part of the podcast with Nora. So what you hear right now is complete, like, I'm flabbergasted. So for me now trying to, all right. I guess the only other thing that I can transition to, right there, because that kind of creeped me out in a certain way too, is like creepy vibes that you get when you're out in public. I don't know if this ever happens to you, but if you're walking in a store, you see someone and you're like, red flag. There's something about that person that just makes you feel totally uncomfortable. Nora and I, after we went out to eat on Saturday, walked through Target because we had to walk off our dinner. We both felt like crud, and we're like, let's just walk and walk and walk. I was back in the men's section. I was trying to look for some new pants, something that was not Lululemon and not spending an arm and a leg on. And I was looking through the section, and I saw this guy. He was passing me. He had a backpack on, and he made me really uncomfortable, just like the look that he kept giving me. And he had a whole bunch of stuff in a cart, too, with the backpack on. And this backpack looked like it was pretty heavy. And I'm like, okay, that's odd. Maybe this guy just doesn't have a house. I don't know. Maybe he lives out of his car and he brought his valuables in. And then I'm like, I'm going to get out of the way. Like, I don't want to be in this area. I don't want anyone to think that I stole something if he accidentally stole something. So I start to walk out of the men's section, and all of a sudden I see a security guard. He was on a walkie-talkie, and he kept talking to someone that was probably back in security looking at all the cameras watching this guy. And he kept doing the walkie-talkie, and he kept saying, hey, where's the guy at? Da-da-da. Has he taken anything else? I don't know what was said on the other end because he had an earpiece in. And the more and more that I was in that situation, I'm like, I got to get out of here. I got to get far on the other side of the store, because if he being the security guard, approaches the guy that is stealing some stuff inside the store, and shit goes south, what am I going to do? I was like, I don't want to be anywhere near it. I need to be looking for safety exits just in case anything pops off. So I text Nora. I said, where are you at? She was like, right in front of me practically when I sent that text off. And I was like, hey, I got to show you something. And we walk over by the toys. And I say, hey, listen, I was like, there's this guy. He's totally making me feel uncomfortable. I think he's stealing a whole bunch of shit. She's like, oh, okay. And I was like, something about the situation doesn't feel right. And the security guard's over there monitoring every single move that this guy makes. I think he's stealing stuff. And I explained to her, like I just did to you, that I just wanted to kind of remove ourselves from that situation. And then I saw another guy walking through the store. He was by the electronics. And I was like, Nora, let's keep walking. I got to show you something else over here. And so we moved towards the front of the store, more towards like where they keep the coffee makers and Keurigs and all that kind of sorts of stuff. Appliances, kitchen appliances. And she was like, what's wrong? Why do you keep walking so fast? Well, there was another guy, like when we had turned the corner to go over by, I would say the home area where they have a whole bunch of baskets and the fall decor right now. There was another guy. Basket full of a whole bunch of stuff. He had a backpack on. And then I saw another security guard that was walking down the main aisle. And I'm like, wow, this stuff is really going to pop off. And I told Nora, I was like, hey, you know what? Let's get out of here. Maybe we should go and get ice cream. Maybe we should go do that. We went and played a mini golf before we went to go get the ice cream. And she goes, why were you acting so weird back there? I said, do you ever get that weird feeling, that creepy feeling when you're walking past someone or you see them and the way that they're acting in the store? I was like, you don't ever feel uncomfortable to the point that you feel like you shouldn't be in that place at that time? She's like, no. And I said, well, to me, my head is always on a swivel. Whenever I'm out in public, my head is on a swivel, looking in every direction, seeing what one person's doing that kind of looks a little shady. Should I be trusting that person? Like I'm always, like I would be good as a Secret Service member. My head would always be turning, looking for someone, looking for something strange to happen. And that's why I just felt in that situation that it was just good to remove myself from that. And if you ever find yourself in one of those situations, I think the best thing for you to do is just get out of Dodge. There's no reason for you to be over there in that situation. But if you like to play a little risky, go ahead. Go walk over there. You could be my guest with that. But I don't like messing with that stuff at all. But if you ever feel like you're uncomfortable, you ever feel like, hey, this person's doing some shitty shit or shady stuff, I don't know, man. It just rubs me the wrong way because of how crazy people are now. People are nuts. They're crazy. They'll do everything and anything. Like I said, be on a swivel. Be on a swivel for a new episode of The Luke Kelly Show coming out on Monday. We'll have an all-new top 3. Got a busy weekend ahead of me. My parents are coming into town. Going to entertain them for a long Labor Day weekend. You worked hard. Yes, that's right. Even on a Labor Day, I'm going to be dropping an episode for you to listen to. All right, so I'll talk to you on Monday, Labor Day Monday, here on The Luke Kelly Show.